It's June 17th, 2026. Welcome to the video. Iran is launching more drones at commercial ships just last night. But here's the number I want you to think of, 30 seconds. That's how long a Shahed 136 drone has once an A-10 Warthog acquires it at 2 miles out. The IRGC launched a wave at commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz, not despite a peace deal being finalized, but because of it, and I'm going to tell you why here in a second. But Tehran wanted the world to see them launching those drones. At this point, those are going to stand out like a you-know-what in sweatpants in the Strait of Hormuz. Everybody is going to be able to see it, especially with all the systems that CENTCOM has in that region still. Even though the blockade, you know what I mean. Even though that's been lifted, CENTCOM still has many assets in the area, which can be that persistent trust but verify. Yeah, General Salami, we trust that you're going to sign the actual peace deal. We're just going to verify it, okay? We're going to verify that you're not just throwing your own charcuterie party, and in this case, instead of capers and lettuce and tomatoes, you're throwing Shahed drones at commercial ships. We see what you're doing. But also simultaneously, CENTCOM and the U.S. military wanted the world to see what happens next when Iran launches those drones. We're talking anti-UAS, unmanned aerial system capabilities, some new advanced technology that we're going to talk about in this video, but along with the OG, basically the best drone killing aircraft ever created, the A-10 Warthog. We know that there's no comparison to the A-10. Every time someone says, well, the F-35 replaces the A-10. No. F-16 replaces the A-10. No. The A-10 is a unique platform to take down slow flying drones, tanks, and use that massive 30mm cannon to do what Uncle Sam still needs to do to Iran's drones in the Strait of Hormuz right now. And then Iran's parliament speaker, Ghalibaf, he was already at his microphone. Can someone take this guy's microphone away? Just give him a pen. Just let him sign things. We don't need him having a microphone. But despite that, he does have a microphone, and he said, Iran took a major step toward final victory. We are standing, and in the end, our Iran will be victorious. He's like, in the end, Iran will still try to do some nefarious things around the globe like you just saw us do last night, launching our Shahed drones at innocent commercial ships. And then Hassan Khamenei, the grandson of the Islamic Republic founder who was taken out during Operation Epic Fury, called the war against American Israel the lesser jihad and declared a greater jihad was now beginning. The IRGC state media ran celebration footage of the drone launches as proof the armed forces had maintained control over the strait. So essentially, they're just trying to gaslight their people, make their people think they are extremely hardline while they're also simultaneously making a deal. I mean, do you guys see the grift at this point? Do you see what Iran does to its own population? It's pretty wild. Even like the worst cult leaders in the world are like, yeah, Iran, that's a little bit much for us. You guys need to go to cult leader charm school. But Tehran was throwing that victory parade while CENTCOM was running live fire exercises against their drones that they were using to gaslight their own people with. U.S. Central Command confirmed it downed every single drone launched at commercial shipping, not most of them, but all of them. The international trade corridor still remains open, especially with the Southern Highway. The oil has just started to move, with reports showing that Iran actually just got their first tankers through since the blockade with oil exports. So it's open toll-free, but Iran's going to start making that money again by selling the oil to China. So the oil is moving, but the drones are not making it very far at this point. Let's rewind 72 hours and talk about the framework of the MOU, which is said to be signed on Friday. It's really important to understand what's going on behind the scenes. President Trump declared the Strait of Hormuz open, toll-free, effective immediately. He said, ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow. That was the exact quote from Truth Social. And then Prime Minister Sharif from Pakistan confirmed that the deal was done. And then Iran launched drones at commercial shipping anyways. This isn't an accident. This is their doctrine. We're seeing their doctrine play out. Remember, the administration right now is trying to negotiate with terrorists, doing the best they can. Terrorists with an actual military and a proxy force. So obviously not an easy problem to solve. But again, this is their doctrine, and Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Gharibati went on state television and stated directly that Iranian armed forces threats helped facilitate progress in the negotiations. So do you see what they're doing with their own people? They're trying to show strength. We still have military capability because they're like, hey, population, people, we still have military capability, so don't think of trying to come in and overthrow us because we're really strong and tough and we might be taking steroids, but at the same time, we're not compensating at all. We're definitely not compensating for something that's small. But isn't that wild? This shows they're basically afraid of their own people. Iran right now is more afraid than ever of their own people because they've been put on notice by the West. They see the writing on the wall that at some point, the population could rise up in a more effective way, especially if they were armed from the West, which again, not an easy problem to solve, but all of this is happening. This drone launch just last night, this is all happening because the political leadership, the IRGC, they are very afraid of their own people. So they have to show strength. They have to overcompensate. Pretty much every IRGC guy at this point is driving a truck with monster truck tires. Yeah, might be compensating for a little something there, bud. And then a senior Khamenei advisor warned on state television that the MOU text contained ambiguities that needed clarification, and they accused the Trump administration of trying to keep Tehran's conditions in a vague state. Iran is using every drone it launches to try to fill in those ambiguities with some kinetic punctuation against their own people. So Iran called it a show of strength, CENTCOM shooting down their drones with A-10s potentially, anti-UAS systems. They basically just called it another Tuesday. So my sponsor Cloaked dared me to drop some of my personal info into their site and see how exposed I really am. And what I found was wild. Personal info out in the open, no cover, and data brokers are making billions selling our info to scammers and spammers, and we actually agreed to it because it's buried in terms and conditions that nobody reads. Most services, though, they just scrub your data after it's already leaked. Cloak finds where your info is being sold and removes it, then hands you unlimited burner emails, numbers, and usernames, so the brokers can't tie anything back to you. They also offer dark web monitoring, a built-in VPN, a $1 million ID theft policy. It's like having your own wingman for your personal data who always has your six 24/7. So head to cloaked.com/Max Afterburner, enter your info, and see if your social security number is for sale. It's free and it takes 2 seconds to type in. And that same link gets you 30% off any plan, so check out Cloaked today with the link in the description. But now let's talk about the machine that likely answered this call and is still in theater right now. So think about this operations area. We know that AH-64 Apaches have been taken down by a Shahed drone. Enter the A-10 going in and targeting these drones, flying at 115 knots just off the water, 50 to 100 feet off the water, inbound to try to hit those tankers that are just trying to get their cargo through the Strait of Hormuz. At this point, that A-10 is one of the most capable aircraft because of its 30mm GAU cannon. 3,900 repetitions per minute is what that thing spins at. Just a wild platform with uranium depleted rounds if needed, but likely in this case, it's using HEI, high explosive incendiary. And yeah, that's that guy right there. Yeah, that's the guy she told you not to worry about. This is the other guy down here, and then that guy up there, that's the guy that she told you not to worry about. That's the 30mm bullet that is launching towards these Shahed drones. And there is rumors now that the A-10 could carry the APKWS rockets on its underwing pylons over the Persian Gulf right now. That's an advanced precision kill weapon system that straps a semi-active laser guidance kit around the midsection of a standard 2.75-inch Hydra rocket. A $2,000 dumb rocket became a $28,000 precision-guided munition with a 10-centimeter CEP, circular error probability. 10 centimeter. That's how close this thing can hit. I mean, that's just wild to think about. But yeah, $28,000 to make it that laser seeker, but much better than $1 million AMRAAM, which is what was being fired at these drones. So the A-10 rolls in, designates the target with its laser pod, fires one of these off, walks the spot right to where the drone is, fires one of these off, and then itself, or with a wingman, lasers that rocket right onto the Shahed drone, and it basically becomes a falling cheese grater at that point. But not to mention the GAU-8 Avenger. Well, actually, we did just mention it a second ago, but the 30mm rotary cannon, that's literally the reason the airframe was built. It's also in play at close range. 30mm cannon, high explosive incendiary against a sheet metal metal drone, yeah, you do the math on that one. But then there's other advanced systems as well. We know directed energy, but check this out. I just came across it yesterday. It's Northrop Grumman's M230LF. The M230LF is a chain gun. It's got the same 30mm cannon that lives under the Apache's nose, and it's mounted as a standalone deck weapon. So it engages low, slow, small threats to 4,000 meters away at 200 rounds per minute. No missile expenditure, no cost per shot problem like an AMRAAM or an AIM-9X, just a gun solution against a drone that runs approximately $100 or so per engagement. That math can scale beautifully. I think Alex Hormozy would be proud of us at this point. Along with the A-10 and advanced programs like the M230, think about Anduril's Anvil interceptor. That's the future arriving ahead of schedule. A small, high-speed autonomous drone physically intercepts the threat drone before it reaches its target. No explosive, no warhead, just pure kinetic impact. Think about like a THAAD missile, that same doctrine. No warhead, just exact precision of hitting the other ballistic missile. That's kind of what's happening with this new technology by Anduril. Anduril's Lattice AI is a battle management system that tracks, classifies, and queues intercepts faster than any human in the loop actually can. The AH-64 Apache adds the Stinger missile, its own 230 cannon, and you team that up with the A-10, you team that up with the M230, with Anduril's advanced UAS equipment, and yeah, you really have something that's sitting there making General Salami say, yeah, I think I chose the wrong charcuterie party. And then not even to mention the Army's DE-M SHORAD laser system, adaptable to vehicles, ships, fixed platforms. Can we get this thing on an aircraft at some point? F-47 loaded down with a directed energy weapon, potentially, not confirmed yet, but this has been operating in the CENTCOM area of responsibility, the D SHORAD has. It neutralizes drones at the speed of light. Cost per engagement? Yeah, basically the cost of flipping a light switch, the cost of moving your finger on the trigger like that. So that directed energy might be one of the best weapons ever. Hey, maybe we should just load one of these directed energy weapons on the A-10. I'm sure the A-10 could handle it. It's basically the pickup truck of fighter jets. But Iran is flooding the zone with expendables, and America is answering at every altitude, every range band, and every cost tier simultaneously. Not just one system involved here, but a chain with no gap that the adversary can get through. Iran sent their Mosquito fleet of drones. America sent basically the electric bug zapper of fighter jets, the A-10 Warthog. So remember, the supply chain for the Shahed drones in Iran, when we speak about knowing our enemy, it runs through Iranian domestic manufacturing facilities that have been degraded, but not fully degraded. And Iran's going to reconstitute all their factories in their country right now, basically put them under war powers to get all of those drones replaced and the ballistic missiles replaced as well. So basically, they're going full and all in on getting those Shahed drones and getting their stockpiles back to close to where they were before the conflict began. And then Iran's most inflammatory rhetoric, it needs to be read for what it actually is. Remember, Iran Foreign Minister Agarachi told a room full of diplomats in Tehran that the MOU confirms Iran and Hezbollah as a single party to the agreement. So they're trying to say that Iran and Hezbollah are together, a legal and diplomatic framing that Washington doesn't accept. And Agarachi stated without the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the territories they occupied during this war, the war cannot be considered fully concluded. He declared that any continued Israeli military action in Lebanon will be regarded as a violation of the Memo of Understanding. So again, that's what they're using, that's what they're hanging on. They're basically like, you can't target our proxy forces. We believe we have the ability to keep our proxy forces right there next to Israel. But here's one of the honesty checks, and that is the Netanyahu wild card and the 48-hour window. So Iran's military, and we can really just take what these guys say with a grain of salt, likely, but they're saying that Israel violated the ceasefire 84 times since the MOU was signed on Sunday. Agarachi declared every Israeli strike in Lebanon a violation of the agreement and framed the U.S. as legally responsible for Israeli actions. Trump basically has broken publicly with Netanyahu somewhat over the last few days. He said that Netanyahu needs to be more responsible, and he said, I'm not happy. Language that would have been geopolitically inconceivable 6 months ago, but Israel's National Security Minister Ben Gvir responded by stating that Trump's deal doesn't bind Israel. So as you can see, a bit of a quagmire as far as what happens with Israel in the mix, Iran in the deal with the U.S., and obviously the U.S. is making that deal with Iran only, but Iran is trying to tie in a whole bunch of different things at the end. I don't think we're really surprised by that. You made it to the 40 chess strategic analysis section, my friends. So Iran's not unhappy with the deal. They know what they signed, and it includes the ability, we don't know where the money will come from, but basically $300 billion will somehow make it into Iran, whether that's sanctions relief, whether that's from frozen assets, or just some of the royalties they're going to make here over the next few months as they crank their oil industry back up. So the drone launch could be a couple different things. It could be rogue IRGC commanders, but I actually think it's IRGC commanders that are acting with authorization of Tehran, because Iran's military doctrine is to listen to the circle of the supreme leader, obviously. And they're seeing this entire operation as an ability to show their people that they're still in charge. Because again, there's probably a lot of factions in Iran right now that are like, yeah, our military is the weakest it's ever been. We're at a position where, who knows, a civil war could break out. There could be an uprising, but obviously they would need to be armed. They can't just go lambs to the slaughter like they were before, being mowed down by the IRGC. But again, the IRGC is going to gaslight their people as much as they possibly can, especially during this 60-day window where it looks like the strait will remain open. Money will continue to flow into Tehran. So if I was a betting man, I would say the A-10, the AH-64, these counter-UAS systems, they have some pretty good job security in the Strait of Hormuz right now. But what do you think happens? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think we see Iran just willy-nilly blast off more of these drones as they do? Oh, Iran, oh, General Salami, can't you guys just be good members of the party? And they're like, no, we're in the corner doing steroids because we need to overcompensate for our own population. So they think we're still fully in charge and our military is fully strong. I mean, don't get me wrong, the IRGC has an iron grip on Iran, but at some point, the free Iranian people do deserve a country where they're actually free and they have the ability to thrive. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate you being here. Go ahead and follow me on X, follow me on Instagram. I'm posting there pretty much every day. Watch this next video that pops up right here. This is Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner, signing off. I could see like an accidental 5-star review from the counter-UAS system from the US by an IRGC drone operator. He's like, wow, I want to get one of these. 5 stars, outstanding product. I sent 17 units in the last 48 hours and every single one was returned to the ocean promptly, fully disassembled. It was sent at high velocity from multiple directions simultaneously. Looks like the Northrop Grumman M230 in particular struck down a lot of my different drones. And then supposedly some laser guided rockets actually joined the party as well. I wasn't even briefed on those things. I didn't even know the A-10 could carry those things. The packaging was very aggressive. Delivery was immediate. I've requested a refund from the procurement office of the IRGC drone headquarters. They said the precursor factory that would process my refund is actually no longer structurally available. 0 stars for the refund process, 5 stars for the American drone system that I'm going to try to order right now.